getting back to the masculinity conversation, why do you think it's so difficult for people to publicly advocate for the problems of men and boys?
Because victimhood doesn't work for men the way it works for women. We don't feel sorry for men. And rightly so, by the way. Rightly so. I mean, biologically, men are disposable in a way that women aren't, for the obvious reasons. If you have a tribe of 10 men, 10 women, you send the women off to war, you're screwed. You send the men off to war, one comes back, you can still replenish the population. So men are disposable, always will be, much more than women. And so we don't feel sorry for men in the same way. And I'm not advocating that we feel sorry for men, because I don't believe that's the solution to men's problems. The solution to men's problems is for men to be better.
You were on a previous episode of It's Complicated where you brought up the concept of male disposability.
Male disposability. We as a culture don't care about the problems that uniquely or disproportionately impact men. Male homelessness, 3/4 of men, male suicide, 80% of men, war deaths, 99.999% of men. We don't care as a culture about anything that impacts men. The best you'll hear is people talking about men's mental health, and it's always followed by so they can be productive and help the culture.
Male disposability? What's that mean?
It means that men are the disposable gender. Women are the first ones rescued when there's an emergency situation. Men go down with the ship. Men are the first ones sent off to war.
Absolutely. I mean, males, we're naturally stronger. So, we're supposed to be the ones sent off to war. We're supposed to be the ones that are the last ones to save. You know what I mean? We're naturally stronger. We're naturally, it's in our DNA to be strong. It's in our chromosomes. We were built different by God to be stronger.
The amount of men who've died over the years for other men's pet projects, right? Like we're so often we're cogs in the machine, and no one really cares at the end of the day. You look at our veterans who come back, you look at the homeless population, a lot of them are vets, they're chewed up and spit out, and no one gives a shit at the end of the day. We say, God bless our troops, but no one actually is looking to actually bless them and take care of them. I think the reason why men are often disposable is because we don't speak up to our value and our worth.
Do you believe that promoting hyper-masculinity feeds into male disposability?
Yes.
How?
Because you're basically hyping them up to be like aggressive and violent for like no reason when they don't have to be.
The way I was brought up was to be tough and to be super hard, not to really care about much, not to love much. And that's not true. We shouldn't be that way. I mean, it hurt the way I approached relationships. It hurt a lot of stuff. So I think the way that people approach hypermasculinity from that perspective is very dangerous. It's very toxic.
I do believe in male disposability. I believe males are valued at what they provide to the world, and I think it's a harsh reality that we have to succumb to.
The hypermasculinity is what we promote. We are the strong ones. We're the protectors. The women have to be submissive, listen to every word that we say and everything like that. So the fact that we promote those rules, yeah, it's going to come with the male disposable world. Like, we should be on the front lines. We should take out the trash. All the hard jobs that nobody wants to do, men.
When people say that men are disposable, if we replace that with any other group, blacks, Jews, wouldn't that be hate speech?
Not necessarily. I don't feel like, because men, we're naturally stronger. So I feel like we have to be disposable. You know what I mean? It's our job to protect women. So I feel like we have to be strong.
So if making us strong is what makes us disposable, why would anyone want to be strong?
Because that's what God created us to be stronger, to protect women.
What if you don't subscribe to that narrative? Not everyone is religious.
I agree. Not everybody necessarily agrees.
What if the people who are religious can be disposable and everyone who's not religious doesn't have to be disposable? How about that?
Maybe they're not made to be disposable. Maybe they're not made to be disposable. Maybe they're not naturally strong enough to be disposable.
When we step up and we're strong, we're considered toxic. And when we don't step up and when we're passive, standing idly by, we're beta males. And so it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I believe that a man is supposed to have a balance. Anybody should have a good balance of male traits or masculine traits and feminine traits, because you can't be a dad and be too overly masculine. You have to have sides of you where you can care for your children, where you can love them, where you have to break that wall and be both sides, especially if you're a single parent.
Why do so many people think that if you're not this macho alpha male, you want to put on a dress and wear makeup?
Oh, that's TV. I think that's definitely pop culture. That's comedy. That's what people have seen in theater and over time, and that's just American propaganda. It's pop culture.
I don't personally believe in wearing dresses and stuff like that. It's not something I would do, but I also don't think that makes me a macho man.
There are still many men I know who don't look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but I wouldn't be like, you're feminine as, like, no.
Yeah.
For example, they see the flowers in my hair and they're like, are you a boy or a girl? Definitely a boy. And the flowers definitely don't take away from my masculinity, I feel like, because I'll still very much get aggressive with you and stuff. But yeah, I don't know why they think that. It's the society-based male disposable world that we've created.
Naturally, we're stronger. So, I mean, let's say, for example, like if you go in the gym and you lift weights, right, and you lifting 240 pounds, and you get off of that bench and then your girl gets on that bench, would you allow her to lift that 240 pounds the same way? See what I'm saying? You're going to lower the weight for her. You know what I mean? So you're going to lower the weight to maybe about 80 to 90 pounds. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're naturally stronger. It's in our DNA to be strong.
But does that mean that we have to take abuse to be seen as a real man?
I don't think it's necessarily abuse. I think it's our assigned role to be strong.
How is being stronger going to help men survive when they sink on the Titanic?
That's a really good question. I don't know if they're supposed to swim faster or, yeah, it's an unfair thing that men have to deal with, you know, women and children first. But at the end of the day, like, it should be who, I don't know, I actually don't know who it should be.
How is it going to help men who have to get in front of a train?
Well, have you seen Spider-Man?
I want a man that I know like will get in front of a train for me. Like, I can defend myself, but
Spider-Man was able to hold a train back, so.
If we judge human value based on reproductive value, why won't women become disposable when they hit the wall and experience menopause?
That's a good point, because once a woman hits menopause, that's at a point of her life where she's not producing any kids, she's not really doing anything productive, let's say, in the life cycle. But I think at some point she was having kids, and let's just say she had 2 kids or something, that's okay. She was valuable at one point, so that value therefore stays on her because she has kids to raise and a husband to tend to.
Why do we expect men to be protectors based on the premise that men are stronger, while also saying that men today are weak?
That's deep. I don't know. I think like wanting men to be protectors and providers just comes from where we were primally, like, but we've evolved so much that the world's different. They're not having to hunt for our food and protect us from bears. So
yeah, I'd say in 2024 there is more fluidity between masculine and like feminine traits, whereas back then it was very one box for male, masculine, female, feminine.
Why isn't the solution to women's problems to just be better like it is for men?
Because they're seen as feminine and not masculine, and they don't have the motivation to do for themselves.
Accountability.
Exactly.
Why are men made to feel like they're not good enough naturally? Aren't women encouraged to be their natural selves?
Women are encouraged to be their natural selves, and they're supposed to protect their value from the time they're born. Men are supposed to create their value from the time they're born, and we're born without any value.
Women are not encouraged to be their natural selves. They're getting BBLs, they're getting boob jobs, they're putting makeup on, they're dyeing their hair, they're wearing compression garments, they're lying about their age, they're lying about their weight. No, women are not encouraged to be their natural selves by other women or even men.
How is women wanting men to sculpt themselves to be masculine different than men wanting women to sculpt themselves to the point of eating disorders?
There's no difference.
Don't these sexist expectations create unhealthy obsessions in both genders?
Most definitely. I think there's a lot of that going on in this generation.
Obviously, we talk about women getting pushed to the point of eating disorders, but I think what isn't talked about a lot is men actually getting pushed to the point of eating disorders, or this kind of reverse thing where it's like they're not big enough, but women need to be smaller.
Years in the gym, years of life experience, years of self-reflection. Those are all things that it takes for a man to become that masculine, macho, high-value man that women want, where all women have to do is really simply stay clean, look relatively nice, and not overeat.
Do you think that a man taking steroids can be compared to a woman getting plastic surgery?
Yes.
How so?
Because steroids just makes you physically stronger. and it changes your appearance or, you know, your physical appearance. And it's the same thing with women with BBLs and fucking titty jobs.
If being masculine is a natural process, why are men often shamed to be sculpted that way?
Because they're probably not masculine enough.
People have told me that I'm not like feminine enough, you know what I mean? And I hear some guys aren't masculine enough, and it's just like, what is that supposed to mean? I think we have certain traits that, you know, is how we cope with surviving in the world sometimes. And
hasn't the rise of masculine women pushed men into their feminine?
In a sense, yeah. I believe society is a lot more soft today, and it's a lot easier to be soft if you choose to be soft. We're not forced into harsh realities like we were in the past. So
the need for women to be masculine has come from the lack of support and from certain propaganda which pushes them to believe that they don't need men when we both need each other.
But are women submitting? DNA still defines their role,
it's
right?
about the man that's able to lead. If you as a man, if you're willing to lead, if you're willing to lead a woman, she should naturally be.
You ever hear? Hold on. You ever hear the expression, "You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink"?
That's true.
You can't define. You can't make a woman follow you.
You can't. But at the end of the day, the Bible says that. I'm sorry, I hate to make it religious, but I'm a religious person. The Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing, right? So if you find a woman who does not submit to you as a man, as being a dominant alpha male, what do you have to do? You have to leave. So if you find a woman that does not submit to you, you need to go.
They don't like a man that thumbs their nose up at the system that those women rely on and depend on. You as a man can go, I'm out, I'm not doing this. And there ain't nothing a woman can do because you can provide everything you need with the exception of the occasional release.
Does a man need to be masculine in order to have equal rights?
no, he doesn't need to be masculine.
Does a man need to be masculine in order to have his needs met?
In a lot of ways, yes.
Does a woman need to be feminine in order to have her needs met?
No, she does not.
So why is that different?
Women's lives are much easier than men.
Women wear makeup and high heels and act as if they're so soft and don't want to pay their own bills and try to have a man to do it.
Women do not have to do anything. They don't have to provide value in any way and will still be taken care of based off of things that they were born with. Men will not be provided for if they don't do anything and will succumb to living under Vegas if they don't do anything.
How is saying that men have to create their value any different than saying men don't have value?
Wow, that's actually a bar. Yeah, actually, I never really thought about it that way. But I think also in the jungle, the way that, you know, where we come from, we had to prove ourselves. So in sports, a lot of times when we were growing up, we were very competitive. So I feel like we had to, that's just a part of the nature. It's just a part of nature.
How are conservatives saying that we need men to be disposable any different from feminists saying kill all men?
Ooh, I don't think it's different. I don't think it's different. I think it's the same thing because it's treating people like they're disposable.
Feminists saying kill all men haven't lived in a world without men. So it's a ridiculous statement. Let's pass on that one. Yeah.
Isn't the idea that men are disposable the reason that men can't be seen as victims?
Yeah, I do think that it's a lot harder for people to look at a man as being a victim in a situation rather than a woman.
Isn't that the very premise behind the empathy gap between men and women?
Yeah.
And many men fall victims to, let's say, like sexual assault, trigger warning, and things like that because, you know, of the male disposable world. Like, you shouldn't have let that happen. Like, you're a man, you're strong, you should be able to defend yourself. Nothing like that can happen to you because you're this strong.
You're assigned to be the provider. You know what I'm saying? Since the beginning of the time, we were always created to be the stronger one. We were always women are not our equal. Put it like that. Our job is to protect and lead a woman. So if the woman doesn't necessarily possess the traits of being able to be strong. A woman doesn't necessarily have the genes to be strong as a man.
Who assigned you that role?
My DNA.
Your DNA?
My DNA.
Are you sure it's not your religious beliefs?
It's the fact I have a dick.
Why should biology or religion dictate a man's gender role any more than a woman's role?
I just feel as if that's a belief. I don't think it should dictate. I just feel as if it's a belief.
What do women provide that justifies a man risking his life?
Coochie.
If religion is a choice, why isn't dying in war also a choice?
Religion is a choice, and also dying in war is also a choice.
Well, we have to get drafted, so it's actually not a choice.
You won't catch me drafted.
Right, but I'm saying men are going to be arrested if they don't sign up for the draft at 18, so is that really a choice?
I'll go to jail. I'll be locked in a room with men. I love men.
Well, do you think religion should dictate what is legal in a free society?
No, I think that your DNA should dictate that. I think that as being a man, that you should understand that you're naturally stronger than a woman. Your job is to protect a woman.
Men today are not looking to provide for families in a sense. That's the war on masculinity, and they're not being led in the right direction to lead women in the right direction. I believe femininity and masculinity go hand in hand whenever they work together correctly.
Why are men defined by their role while women are defined by their existence?
Because we provide different things to the world.
I don't think there should be any roles. I feel like you should just live your life how you want to live it. Women fought for equality for all those years, and so it's just, why can't we all just live our life without having to put expectations on each other just based on your gender?
Are women doing their job that the DNA told women to do? Women are told to have birth and be mothers. Women are saying, I don't need a man, I'm not interested in having kids, I want to be a girl boss.
In today's generation.
So why are men still held to their traditional roles when women aren't?
Well, because it's sassy to not hold to our traditional roles. Just because somebody doesn't do something doesn't necessarily mean that you're not supposed to do it.
Well, right, but like I said, why should men be held any more accountable than women are for being held to their roles?
Because we're men.
If you're a guy and you're collecting stamps, that ain't going to be very masculine. It probably ain't going to get you any action. But if you're a guy and, I don't know, you got a TikTok where you're out there chopping wood and your shirt off, that's masculine, and the ladies are going to like that. Masculine is a term when they like what you're doing, and that's what it's for.
Is the problem really men's lack of masculinity, or is it men's lack of authority?
Ooh, that is another one. Well, I think nowadays too, men don't feel like they can be that authoritative in that manner because they feel like if they say their opinion too loudly, maybe they'll be canceled, maybe they'll be judged.
Wasn't authority taken away from men?
In the court system, yes.
In a lot of ways, yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, hey, listen, even when it comes to having a baby, you don't necessarily have the decision as a man, you know, even though you two laid down as consensual adults. When it's time for her to get pregnant, unfortunately, you may not have the choice. So they've always taken the choice away from men. So we just roll with the punches.
If women assume that men are naturally dominant, why do they often complain about how men today lack dominance?
Oh, what a question. I don't even know how to answer that.
Neither. It just women, I feel like, obviously want to feel protected, and there is still that kind of stereotype that men will be the ones to protect them in that situation. But also at the same time, women can also fear them.
Isn't responsibility without authority the definition of slavery, while authority without responsibility is the definition of tyranny?
Oh, tyranny. Oh, I would say that they're the same thing as, again, it's the same amount of chaos. It's just dressed up in a different costume. It's the same shit.
Wouldn't that mean we're living under feminist tyranny?
Oh, we are. Oh, we are. Absolutely.
Is it safe to assume that the left has hijacked feminism while the right has hijacked the manosphere?
Never thought about it like that either. Actually, yes, I would say that's true.